In today's episode, the Knicks try to stay alive. The Panthers make it back to the Stanley Cup final, and PK Subban joins us for 5 good minutes. But we begin today with the Oklahoma City Thunder overwhelming Minnesota right from the start last night, building a 30-point lead in the second quarter and cruising to a series-ending win. The Thunder are the second youngest team ever to reach the NBA Finals, behind only the 1977 Bill Walton Trailblazers. Wilbon, what do you see when you watch the Thunder?
I see a team, Tony, that looks damn near like a championship team. I mean, I know they got to finish it, and you don't want to take anything for granted. That would be completely arrogant if they felt that way. And they're going to have the Pacers or Knicks, seems like the Pacers next, a worthy opponent. But Oklahoma City looks formidable. They are dominant at times. To hold, the Timberwolves to last year's conference finalists to 9 points in the first quarter, and it's the way they're doing it. They are smothering them with defense. They're basically daring Minnesota to do the things that Minnesota's done somewhat successfully the last 2 years, daring Anthony Edwards, daring Julius Randle, and it's working. It's bold, It's creative, it's flexing, and you look at them and you just go, okay, we need to move on now to the next thing. And, of course, we are moving on to the next thing. But, Tony, I've been around long enough to have been around some young championship teams that featured the likes of Kobe and Shaq, and Steph and Clay and Draymond. I've been around them at the beginning. This, to me, is resembling that. And things can unravel it. An injury, contract squabbling, things can happen. But right now, where we sit coming off last night, that's what it resembles to me.
Yeah, this comes as no surprise to me at all. They've been a monster at home all season. They were 35-6 at home in the regular season, 8-1 at home during the playoffs. They got beat pretty bad in Game 3, right, by Minnesota, and they came back right away, and they won Game 4 and Game 5 without any problem. And as you say, they held Minnesota 9 points as a joke in the NBA in a conference finals. 9 points in the first quarter. What are we talking about here? They won 19. They're better than Minnesota. They won 19 more games in the regular season than Minnesota. And I know how much you love Anthony Edwards, but he had another, and I stress another, lackluster game last night. He had 19 points. That's 8 below his season average. In 3 of these games, he's been in the teens. He's their best player. You can't score in the teens. He was 1 of 7 for 3. In Minnesota's 4 losses from 3, he is 6 of 31. That's 19%. Afterwards, Edwards said nobody was going to outwork him next year. And I thought to myself, I don't really know what you're talking about. Nobody said you didn't work hard. They're a better team, and they figured out how to defend you. They figured it out. They're good. They're real
Tony,
good.
you're right. That's a great point about the work. He's going to have organizational help. He's going to have some realizations. At 23, there's time to do that. But Oklahoma City, he better be careful. He and everybody else, because they can lap you. If you don't get it together and somebody wins a championship and really starts to explore how great they can be, other folks, Minnesota, can be in trouble.
I'll just say this very quickly. I'm going to give credit to Minnesota. They made a big trade. They still got back to the conference finals. But they need something more. And you know who's out there? Kevin Durant's out there. Kevin Durant could get them to the top.
Good point.
Let's go to the one remaining NBA series, the Pacers and the Knicks tonight. And Wilbon, you are in New York for this. The Pacers lead the series 3-1. They've won both games in Madison Square Garden. Karl-Anthony Towns has a left knee contusion. He is questionable for tonight's game. Towns is New York's second leading playoff scorer. He's averaging 26 in the series. Wilbon, do you like the Knicks' chances of forcing a Game 6?
Tony, less. When I look on the screen and see Karl-Anthony Towns limping like that, and all credit to Karl-Anthony Towns for getting back up and staying on the court in Game 4. And he's going to try to play tonight. He's going to go out there. But, Tony, they're having enough trouble when whole and relatively healthy keeping up with Indiana. As a matter of fact, they can't really keep up. It's like it's a track meet, and they're out there against Usain Bolt. And then if Karl-Anthony Towns is limping, I mean, the Knicks are already vulnerable defensively. And if he is not at his best, whatever that is, they're going to be really in trouble defensively. So he's their second best player, second most important player all the way around. I want to see the Knicks, extend this series. I love the conference playoffs. I'd like to see more basketball. But the way the Pacers are going, it's hard to really see the Knicks putting together the kind of effort that's going to extend this series.
This is a different Michael Ray Wilbon than I saw a couple of weeks ago. When you first got to New York City, you were so excited. You were all around the basketball. Everything you heard, everything you saw was about the Knicks, and you felt that energy from the Knicks.
Yep.
I know that I said on this show yesterday that there were 4 series remaining in hockey and basketball, and I thought only one of them could get to a Game 6, and I thought it was the Knicks could force that to happen, and I still think that, but I have eyes. I have seen the playoffs to this point. Indiana is better, just by a little, but they've been better in the same way that Tyrese Halliburton has been a little better than Jalen Brunson. There's some numbers here to run. Indiana has won 6 straight playoff games in a row on the road. This game is on the road. They're 13-3 overall in the playoffs. The only game they ever lose is Game 3. This is Game 5. So like I say, I'd love to see the Knicks win, but intellectually, I sort of feel that it's Indiana's series at this point. I will differ from you in this regard. If somebody said, why would you like the Knicks? I would say Jalen Brunson's, because he's really tough and he's fearless. And they would say, well, Karl-Anthony Towns might not play or may be diminished. That's going to hurt them. And I would say, I'm not so sure about that. Because if you put all the pressure on Brunson, I think he might respond. The one bet I would make tonight is that Thibodeau will play Brunson 44 to 45 minutes, if not more than that. If not more than that. Let's dig back into the Stanley Cup playoffs with our great friend, ESPN hockey analyst PK Subban. Let's start with this. The Florida Panthers looked absolutely dominant against the Hurricanes. But tell me, where exactly are they vulnerable?
Where they're vulnerable right now is the fact that they're going to their 3rd Stanley Cup final. You have to think that they're a little bit tired and worn down, but this team doesn't look like they're slowing down. Honestly, it doesn't look like their energy's anywhere but where it needs to be going into the Stanley Cup final. They look like the best team in the league and Stanley Cup champions. You want to ask me where their weaknesses? Go through their defense. Maybe you see one there. In net, you ain't seeing one there, and you're definitely not seeing one up front. And in every category, every facet of the game of hockey, you heard Rod Brindamore say it, this team is the standard now in the National Hockey League. So I don't see a weakness right now with the Florida Panthers.
Wow. PK, that leads me to wonder this. Do you think this team is as good as the team that won it all last year? Better? I mean, how do they compare in your mind?
At the beginning of the year, I said to myself, there's no way how are they going to get better? How are they going to keep all of these guys? And, they let a couple guys go, some depth players, Stenlund and, Lamborghini there on the 4th line. But they go and get a guy like Brad Marchand. And people want to say he's aging. Does Brad Marchand look like he's aged? I'm sorry. At times, he's looked like the Florida Panthers' best player. He's playing on their 3rd line, guys. So, you look at Seth Jones, an upgrade from Oliver Ekman-Larsson, of course, because of his age. The fact that he can lug minutes. He looks like a new player out there. So I have to say the Florida Panthers are in a better position than they were last year. Luosterainen's a year older. Lundell's a year older. Barkov is healthy. Matthew Tkachuk now, who missed most of the season, is healthy. They're in a better position. And Bobrovsky, when is he going to slow down? He's still bobbing and weaving. So I think the Florida Panthers are in a better position than they were last year going into the Stanley Cup. And by the way, they get that series done in 5 games. So they get some time to rest. Unbelievable job.
I know you're going to be keeping one eye on Game 5 in Madison Square Garden tonight. Who you got? The Knicks extending this thing or the Pacers ending it?
Listen to me right now. I got Knicks. I've been saying Knicks in 6. I got the Knicks winning tonight. Definitely. I think this is time. Their big players got to show up. I don't like Indiana. I don't like the look of their team. I don't like the smell of their players when I walk by in the Garden. I'm a Knicks. Listen to me. Knicks, let's go. Jim Dolan, the whole crew, buckle up and strap in. It'll be rocking tonight. I got the Knicks winning tonight. Let's go.
There we go.
Thank you, PK.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Happy trails to active mentoring for Joe Flacco. Flacco finds himself competing with rookies Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders, along with 4th-year man Kenny Pickett, for the Browns' starting quarterback job. But the 40-year-old veteran says he prioritizes his own performance, telling reporters, quote, "If I say I don't want to be a mentor, I look bad. If I say I do want to be a mentor, I look like an idiot that doesn't care about being good and playing football. The best way to be a mentor, honestly, is to show people how you go to work."
Well, the question is, they're going to need him. Are they going to need him this year? Or one of the young bucks going to win that position? How soon do we see Shedeur Sanders under center? That's what most of us care about. No disrespect to Mr. Flacco, who's had a distinguished career.
He has. He's won the Super Bowl. Let's go to the
Yes,
big
he
finish.
has.
NCAA President Charlie Baker says one of his top priorities is to expand March Madness. Your reaction?
No, leave March Madness alone. Don't people ever just see something that's a masterpiece and not mess with it? The Washington Capitals say they mistakenly emailed season ticket holders calling next season Alex Ovechkin's last. Your thoughts, Mr. DC?
My thoughts are they did it deliberately to scare people into buying tickets for this year. Of course they did. The Rockies have lost 5 straight. They're now 9-47. How do you feel about that?
Well, the last 3 of those came at Wrigley Field. They were not beatdowns like they should have been. Worries me about the Cubs' bats, but I'm fine with their last 3 losses. Longtime Patriots center David Andrews is calling it a career. How are you going to remember it?
He was undrafted. He got to play and win 2 Super Bowls. He got to snap to Tom Brady, which is, I'm sure, was a lot more fun than the last few years. He had a great career. Last one, Novak Djokovic advanced to the 3rd round in straight sets despite a blister on his left big toe. I'll bet you're impressed.
Oh, yeah. And Sinners, Zverev, Coco Gauff, Keys, Pegula, they all advanced too. Impressed with all of it. Glad they're in the field still.
We're out of time. Try to do better the next time. I'm Tony Kornheiser.
And I'm Mike Wilbon. Same time tomorrow, Knuckleheads.